Hello, welcome to a kind of total rip-off of content, Cop. The subject for today's video is Eugenia Cooney. Now, I'm not going to be making a video similar to that of the Anne Boleyn Reid double headers. Instead, I'm going to air an opinion, and if I can make it coherent enough, that will be what the video is about, because typically with rip-off of content Cop in a cute way, because I'm using an avatar and I'm not IDub seriously, do I need a sarcasm sign to keep pointing out it is nothing alike I know, I usually address the content and the messages. But this message is more directed to Eugenia about what she puts on screen, but at the same time I am a bit confused, and I feel it wise to air my confusion in the faintest hope that she sees this and either addresses it or reaches out. Not that she has to, she has 1.4 million subs, why pay attention to me at all? But at the same time, if she asked for help, I would of course say yes. But this leads on to a subject that I'm not ready to discuss just yet. For those who don't know who Eugenia is, she's a bit of a goth kind of person on YouTube. She's very, very skinny. Over the years, and I used to be a sub back when she had like 40,000 subscribers. I only remember this because I had planned on doing this very video a few months ago, but decided on somebody else. This is me recording a rambling to see what happens. See if I can put together, like earlier stated, a coherent thought. She's always quite skinny. She did get some fame off a video of her learning or teaching people to twerk, which was quite amusing, making a joke of herself. Very funny. She typically does fashion videos, models stuff, does makeup. Nothing too unique. The reasons I followed her, I don't remember now. I have a sneaky feeling I was also a subscriber to Scream Kiwi at the time. I'm seeing a pattern. Doesn't matter. Over the years she has gotten skinnier and skinnier, and as more and more of her content has been put out, it has steadily, increasingly been more downvoted than upvoted, with many people commenting. In fact, the top comments for many of her more recent videos will say, "Please get help. I beg you to get help." And it is understandable. When you have gotten to the point where your clothes literally hang on you, you're not modelling clothes, you are a clothes hanger at best, it's going to become pretty obvious something is wrong, which was pretty obvious years ago. I, in truth, because I never bothered to inquire, don't actually know what the straw was that broke the camel's back. What got you to the point where you are now, putting on a very happy, smiley face, but looking steadily more and more emaciated. The word unhealthy is definitely at the front. A number of creators have recently made videos on Eugenia, some saying, "Please get help," which is a direction I would take. Others saying she's already dead, because there's no way her body's going to recover from this. And that will lead to a certain question in a bit we will address. And others simply, I assume, for views, just making more videos and drawing more attention to themselves. Have you sorted out your wetland yet, Onision? Not that it matters in the grand scheme of things. I don't actually care about the wetlands in the slightest. Because in all honesty, the fact you've actually said, "Please get help," is a good thing. Regardless of the person behind it, I'm more than happy to see the good faith. And I think the fact that you ignore it is either a sign of indifference, or a sign of delusion, or a sign of ignorance. And in truth, I'm not sure which one it is. I don't know if you don't care. I don't know if you're not bothered. I don't know if you think everything's fine. And to be honest, that is where the main problem arises. How can you help someone that does not know or does not care, or believes they are fine because, quotes, they know their own body, failing to recognize that the body can tolerate a considerable amount of stress, but eventually, like all things, it gives up. And that's a key part here, because there are some huge health consequences to being the way you are, Eugenia. The first one being whether or not your body could even recover. In truth, I am unsure as to whether or not you have a pre-existing condition that makes it so that you are unable to gain weight, or whether you are bringing this upon yourself through a different eating disorder, or whether the pre-existing condition is in fact an eating disorder, in which case 2 words and a phone number would do you the world of good. The 2 words being, "Help me," and the phone number you call being a psychiatrist and a nutritionalist. Hell, just all of the doctors. All of them. But then, at the same time, when you've gotten to the point you are at, can your body recover? And I'm not sure. It's the exact problem somebody of the other end of the scale has, where there are some surgeries that are available and treatments to help someone lose weight, but the damage is done. Your life expectancy on both sides of the scale here are greatly diminished. There is no beating around that bush. Another consequence that affects both those that are morbidly obese and those that are grossly underweight is infertility. And if you, Eugenia, ever wanted to have a family, you may run into some issues in the future if you ever reach the age where you decide you want to have one. That's not to say you want them now, but you never know. Other health conditions that could arise would include the stress placed on your heart. Without the proper nutrients, the heart is a muscle, after all, and it starts to weaken. This applies to other organs when not nourished or treated appropriately. So I have to ask, because I don't know, are you doing enough to look after the organs that keep you alive? Or are you slowly, because of a pre-existing condition or because of the condition you're currently experiencing but are either ignorant or deluded towards, are you actually doing anything proactively to look after yourself or fix yourself? One of the trends I noticed, and I'm going to segue to something about the larger people, is that people like to watch others self-destruct. With the bigger people, it's watching them do mukbangs, watching them stuff their faces knowing that within a day or two there will be an inevitable video of them bawling their eyes out about how bad they feel that they binged. Or there'll be a video down the line talking about the lack of conviction or willpower, although I would argue they're one and the same. And I wouldn't totally be against watching you do a mukbang, since by definition, if you ate what some of those larger girls ate, it would actually be a mukbang, based on the definition of it anyway. But in the same sense of self-destruction, you have the other end. You have those that are very thin. And I've noticed, while people love to watch others self-destruct, they like to watch them self-destruct not because they want to watch them die, but because they like the fallout of their emotional breakdowns. With you, you don't get that. People aren't watching because they want to watch you self-destruct. People are watching because they want you to get help. It is why you receive so many comments urging you to get help. The fact that you don't notice comments, since we have the love facility and you can pin a comment, one can surmise you don't read them. Then again, if you weren't interested in the comments or the views, you'd disable the comments and ratings. But you're not apparently as fickle as those who are larger, which tells me there's a distinct possibility you are ignoring it. So perhaps a case could be made that you are being ignorant and putting on one hell of a face on camera, because you are incredibly professional and pleasant on camera. In truth, I have no idea what you are like off camera. I have never seen you have a breakdown, not because I haven't gone looking for it, but because I never cared enough to look. I was one of those people too busy writing "please get help" in the comments to bother going to look at Kiwi Farms, because I am certain there are many pages on there of you that cover certain facets that would answer questions I have. But as I am recording a mere ramble, in the vain hope that you see this, and possibly answer my questions about your condition, I'm not going to go to Kiwi Farms. I am not going to go looking for videos of you having a breakdown, although I do know one exists of you being asked about your eating disorder, and I don't believe you tackled it at all. I'm not playing a clip of it, but I'll link it below. To get back on track, when you present something on camera, you're portraying a character, maybe. People want to get to know you. They want to know the real you. The Q&As or AMAs don't really answer much, because the questions they really want to ask you, you're not answering. And it must take considerable effort to ignore those questions. The ones that are more pressing. The ones that are of genuine concern about your well-being. So what I'm going to do is ask those very questions now. Are you aware that you are grossly underweight? Are you aware that your eating disorder is there and very obvious for everyone to see? Are you aware that help is available to you if you ask for it? And that's a key thing. Some people think, because of some messed up notion of pride, that they cannot ask for help. You, a remarkably privileged young lady, living in a very wealthy area of the world, so we know you don't do this because you need the money. You have, at your disposal, an income that could pay for help if you needed it. Hell, I'm sure if you asked for help, people would actually pay towards a GoFundMe. You'd probably raise more money than Onision did for his wetland project. The point is, your audience want to help you, and by ignoring them, you alienate them to become the very people that despise people like Chantal Marie and Amberlynn Ree. Your audience want you to get help, and they want to help you. Whether you want to just be a fashion and makeup channel is one thing, but acknowledging those who desperately want to help you, by ignoring them, you eventually alienate them to the point where your brand, the Eugenia Cooney YouTube channel brand, suffers. You will lose viewers because less people will be interested in watching you, and those that do come to watch you might not be interested in the fashion, but in watching you slowly degrade into nothing. As a final point, because I don't want to ramble forever, please consider getting help. Consider that the state you are in, while you believe yourself to be fine, is clearly not. It is visible for all to see. I would say this to anyone who looks like they need help, regardless of whether or not they are someone of the larger persuasion or somebody in your situation. You can play dumb, ignorant, or fob me off as a hater if you like, but more and more people are going to make videos on this. Some will not be as nice. Some have not been so nice. And I take the position that I believe you need help, and all you have to do is ask. There is an entire community on the internet who have said similar things to you. Might I recommend you start to listen, because while you think you're okay, the many disagree. Thank you.